All right, folks, look, the photo you see of Donald Trump on your screen right now is real. This is not edited. It's not AI. This was a photo taken of him at his club in Florida today, and he just looks like crap. And I think the stress of his administration crumbling before our very eyes is getting to him. Not only is he declining, and we're seeing that every day, but this explosive story surrounding his possible war crimes and the war crimes of Pete Hegseth just got even worse for his administration. We're going to cover all of that and more in this video. Before I do any of that, make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about the story. Let me know how your day is going. I hope your holiday weekend with Thanksgiving was wonderful and you were able to relax, because I know there's so much crap going on in the world. But without further ado, let's dive in. So this is Tim Miller from the Bulwark podcast. You may know him if you listen to like political podcasts and whatnot. He's great. And he said that a listener of his passed along this photo of Donald Trump enjoying a meal at his golf club earlier today. And I do have to point out that he did hashtag MAHA, as in Make America Healthy Again, because this guy does not look very healthy to me. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a medical degree. I'm just doing the eyeball test right now. And the eyeball test tells me that somebody that looks like this and is showing clear signs publicly of cognitive decline, of physical decline. I mean, his body is also going. Doesn't look very healthy to me. Let's just look at the zoom in version. And I know, Donald Trump is kind of a jump scare, so looking at his face this close up is not appealing. But does this look healthy to anybody? Can the Republicans who type in my comments all the time, can they even try to sit here and claim that this guy looks healthy? And it's not like this is like a one-off bad picture. I mean, we have photos and videos of him falling asleep. We have photos and videos of him looking confused. This is not a one-off instance. This is just Donald Trump, the oldest president we've ever had, a president who will not release his medical results. He will not release the MRI test he had, the results of that exam, or give any specific details or allow his doctors to speak to the press about it. He won't do it. This is not healthy. And as I mentioned, I think some stress is getting to Donald Trump. I think that's what this boils down to because of this upcoming story we're going to talk about. But before we do that, I also want to quickly show you this video of Donald Trump's recent walk, which a lot of people, some doctors have come out on social media, people who know better than me have pointed out that it looks like he's had a stroke. I mean, look at the way he's walking. He can't walk straight. And we've seen this plenty of times. All these videos of him walking in meetings or whatever it might be, he stumbles all over the place. He's going back and forth. He's swaying. Look, it doesn't look good to me. It doesn't look good to me. But now, I think this is what's really getting to Donald Trump. I think the stress is building up. Not only the stress of the Epstein files, of Republicans resigning from Congress, the indictments of James Comey, Letitia James getting dismissed, among the many failures that Donald Trump has suffered recently, but it's this war crime story that the Washington Post reported on yesterday that has really rocked his administration and even gotten Republicans concerned as well. If you're not familiar, the Washington Post reported on this verbal order that Pete Hegseth gave the Secretary of the Department of Defense regarding this boat in the Caribbean. And his order was, quote, "kill them all." Yeah, that's highly illegal for a number of different reasons. Illegal under international law, illegal under American law. And then when they struck the boat, there were 2 survivors, and then they struck them again. So there were survivors who we don't know if they were bad people doing something bad. They could have just been innocent fishermen. They could have just been innocent people on this boat. They were defenseless. They did not pose an immediate threat to the United States. They're in this huge ocean with no ships around them, and then they struck them again, which obviously is very concerning. And now Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are being investigated by both the House and the Senate. And both of these chambers are led by Republicans. This is a statement that Republican Senator Roger Wicker, who is the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, put out with Senator Jack Reed, a Democrat, the ranking member of the very same committee. Their statement says the committee is aware of recent news reports and the Department of Defense's initial response. And I love how they're saying the Department of Defense, not the Department of War, which Donald Trump had renamed it in quotations, regarding alleged follow-on strikes on suspected narcotics vessels in the Southcom area of responsibility. The committee has directed inquiries to the department, and we will be conducting vigorous oversight to determine the facts related to these circumstances. Vigorous oversight. And this is coming from a Republican-led Committee, a joint statement between a Democrat and a Republican. That's right, we have a bipartisan agreement on this story among elected Republicans. Of course, the MAGA fan base is saying, oh, Donald Trump did nothing wrong. He can just kill whoever he wants. He's president, right? That's totally legal. Of course not. But these elected Republicans are also concerned, and the House is doing the same. The chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, Mike Rogers, a Republican, and ranking member Adam Smith, a Democrat, issued a similar statement together, saying this committee is committed to providing rigorous oversight of the Department of Defense's military operations in the Caribbean. We take seriously the reports of follow-on strikes on boats alleged to be ferrying narcotics in the Southcom region and are taking bipartisan action to gather a full accounting of the operation in question. Again, they're saying rigorous oversight. This is a Democrat and a Republican. This is a bipartisan agreement that's not only taking place in the House, but also the Senate. The walls are really closing in on Donald Trump in this story. He was hoping that Republicans would just stand by him, defend his ability to, in his mind, just kill anybody he wants. He sees somebody, he's allowed to take them out, and his claim is, well, I'm president, I can do it, right? That's what Donald Trump thinks. It hasn't gone that way. And on top of this, to make things even worse for Donald Trump, a group of former military lawyers put out a joint statement today making the case for Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth to not only be investigated for war crimes and murder, but held accountable for these things. In this statement they wrote, the former JAGS working group unanimously considers both the giving and the execution of these orders, if true, to constitute war crimes, murder, or both. This statement is scathing for Donald Trump. They write as well, if the U.S. military operation to interdict and destroy suspected narco-trafficking vessels in a non-international armed conflict, as the Trump admin suggests, orders to kill everybody, which can reasonably be regarded as an order to give no quarter, and to double tap a target in order to kill survivors, are clearly illegal under international law. In short, they are war crimes. War crimes. If the U.S. military operation is not an armed conflict, this would subject everyone from SecDef down to the individual who pulled the trigger to prosecution under U.S. law for murder. They are, they are not messing around here. They write how their actions likely violate the Second Geneva Convention because people that are wounded, sick, or shipwrecked and persons and members of, quote, crews of the Merchant Marine are considered protected persons under Articles 12 and 13, respectively, of the Second Geneva Convention. They even write how in the Hague Convention that orders to, quote, kill them all are also illegal. And they also write how many of these violations could happen under U.S. law as well, in addition to international law. There's some serious stuff going on here, and I want people to remember this interaction between J.D. Vance and Democrat Brian Krasenstein. J.D. Vance in September said, killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. Brian said, killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. J.D. Vance said, I don't give a shit what you call it. Maybe J.D. Vance cares now because his administration is subjected to criminal liability for this. There will be an investigation, as we saw, and there will be some consequence. So look, I just had to break down the story on the possible war crimes that Donald Trump committed, but also this photo of him just looking absolutely awful. I mean, it's tough to look at. Anyway, look, I will leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. Drop a like on the video. Again, let me know what you think about this story. I'm always excited to hear from you folks on this stuff.